right, welcome to Silver Creek Elementary School. Tonight is September 12th of 2023. But first, we have our budget hearing. So at this time, if I would turn it over to Dr. Balmer for his presentation.
Tonight, we're taking our next step in getting our 2024 calendar year, fiscal year from July through June. Our budget actually runs from January to December, so this budget will be running from January 1 to December 31 of 24. So things to keep in mind: when we prep the budget, we are not aware of all information. Assessed value is a great example, so we do our best to make projections. So again, this is our advertised budget we'll be looking at, and that's why we submit it to the DLGF, who will adjust accordingly based on the new information and to ensure we get what we need and what Silver Creek has coming to us from a budgetary standpoint. So we're going to look at our actual 23 budget versus advertised budgets for the funds that the DLGF sets appropriations for. It gives you the authority to spend. Again, for our levies, the same thing. Tax rates, capital projects plan, we'll look at that one more time, in our bus replacement plan. Going over our advertised budget again, you'll see we have increased the requested appropriation amount in education from 19.5 to 21.5. That has to do with state increased revenue, has to do with the hiring, raises, and again, just cost of things going up. There's also some cushion built in there. To try to avoid an additional appropriation at the end of 24. So again, some little extra cushion. We've done that the last 2 years due to growth, and what we're trying to do there is eliminate that extra step that's not necessary if we allow for some cushion in that appropriation. So if we do see an increase in July for next school year, we can hire and not necessarily need to go file for an additional appropriation. Again, Silver Creek does have two debt funds. The debt service fund covers Silver Creek debt, and then the West Clark debt, or the legacy debt, is for old West Clark debt, which Silver Creek, due to the interlocal agreement, is responsible for levying and paying that debt. You'll notice the West Clark debt continues to go down. That's because as debt falls off, we're not replacing it because West Clark's no longer in existence. So the 15 bonds fell off. So that's why you're seeing the deduction there. You see Silver Creek debt going up. That has to do with, again, Silver Creek is now issuing debt on behalf of Silver Creek. Also ties into the 23 bonds, which we got approved in spring of 22 to issue. We were planning on issuing those in 23. It's been a little bit delayed, but that has to do with rejecting our bids the first go around due to them being so high for the high school. So we went around and used some strategy to save some money for that last round, which kind of delayed obviously the construction a bit and also the issuance of 23, but we'll be issuing those very soon. Operations, you'll see a 4% increase there. That has to do with the DLGF allows you this year is allowing us to increase that budget by 4%. You also see a rainy day line, which is not on the 23 budget. We do have a 23 appropriation for rainy day, which gives the authority to spend, but that was filed as an additional appropriation once we began 23. And so we're going ahead and front loading that. That way, as we enter 24, we don't need to do an additional appropriation. We'll have the authority to spend. You're looking for what we're requesting on appropriation, a total of $40,247,539 for those funds. Jumping into the levy again. Two things to really keep in mind. One, when we did this, we did not know our assessed value, so we go off what the DLGF recommends, which is 85% of the prior year's assessed value. And then also in the gateway, you only have a 50% button. Debt prior to 2016, you could carry a 50% cash balance in your debt funds for your payments. Now, any debt after 2016, only 15%. So those will be cut back. Again, DLGF will do that. But again, your only option is to go for the max rate, and then the DLGF cuts it back. And then operations, again, a 4% increase. So those will, just keep in mind, those debt funds will be cut to reflect a 15% versus a 50% cash balance. Going over tax rates, again, the advertised tax rate, we'll look at that. Again, just to stress, when we prep the budget, DLGF says if you don't know assessed value, which you normally don't when you start to do your budget, you go off 80%, 85% of the prior year. So if you don't know if your assessed value is going to go up or not, you want to protect the district and ensure until you have that information. And then also, again, those advertised rates represent a 50% cash balance versus 15. So I went ahead and did a little estimated actual just so you could kind of see the difference there. And on that side over there on the estimated actual, I factored in a 3% growth for assessed value. We actually had a little more than 3%, and then I kind of factored in a 15% levy. Puts us around $1.05. I think we'll be able to get it a little lower than that. But again, that ties in, if you look at 23, the reason you see that increase, that has to do with that 23 bond issuance, which again was approved in the spring of 2022. Projects for your capital projects plans, again, that has to be advertised and approved. We're just looking at continuing to replace some flooring in the building and equipment. We have a corporation maintenance vehicle and a scissors lift. And again, we don't have to do these things. It just gives us the ability to do it in 2024 if we choose to do so. Bus replacement plan, again, you do a 5-year plan. We're looking to spend about $275,000 on replacing buses in 2024, one ECA passenger bus and 166 passenger bus, yellow bus. And again, this is a public hearing, so obviously I'll take any questions from the board, but also we'll open up for public comment.
Board, do you guys have any questions? No. Any public comment at this time? All right, we will close this hearing at 6:36, and we'll jump right into our regular scheduled board meeting. We'll call that meeting to order at 6:36. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by Dr. Ballmer's invocation. Where are we at? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible,
With liberty and justice for all. Dear Heavenly Father, we just give you thanks that we can gather here tonight as a school district. We just thank you for the blessings of our students. We thank you for our wonderful staff. And we just ask that you'll continue to just pour your wisdom on us as we try to make the best decision possible to move our district forward. Help us stay committed to our purpose, which is just to continue to benefit our students for their education and their future, and to help them set them up for success. We thank you for all that you've given us, and we ask that you'll continue to send your blessings our way. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, roll call. Mr. Basham.
Here.
Miss Bright is absent. Miss Franklin.
Present.
Mr. Groen.
Here.
And I'm also present. We have quorum. We do not have any emergency additions or revisions to the agenda for the evening. Next up, we'll go to the approval of minutes. First meeting minutes are in your board packet. Were August 22nd of this year, which is our regular school board meeting. And then following that, on the same day of August 22nd, we had the executive session board minutes. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
Also moved.
Mr. Groen makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. This time, Dr. Briggs has a presentation on the school improvement plans.
Yes, good evening. On your agenda for this evening is the approval of the school improvement plans from each of our schools. And I've asked each principal or their designee to give some highlights or summaries of their plans. So up first will be Silver Creek Primary, Mrs. Campbell.
Do you have our copies?
I do. Great.
Alex, am I go? Okay.
Is there one in there for me?
All right. Good evening. For Silver Creek Primary, when we focus on our school improvement plan, our plan is vision-based and data-driven, and we focus on our interventions. Our ultimate goals with this is making sure that we are raising student achievement, closing achievement gaps, and then also making sure that we are in compliance with Indiana rules and Indiana code, as well as Title I. So for our steering committee consists of teachers from our building, parents from our building, community members, and then members of our leadership team, administrators. We focus on vision, academic goals, root causes, interventions, professional development, and then our interventions task list, which is really our to-do list for the upcoming year. So as we go to the next slide, our vision at Silver Creek Primary is Silver Creek Primary, where every child finds success through learning. And our mission is to provide a safe learning community through an engaging primary experience where everyone achieves their personal best. We put a lot of focus in our school improvement plan as having the youngest learners in the district. We want to make sure that we're instilling a love of learning, but also that we are helping those friends to find success in whatever area of their life that they need the most success in. And sometimes, yes, that's learning, but it can be learning about other things than just academics as well. Our ultimate goal through this process is in a dream world, our student achievement would be 100% in math and 100% in reading on or above grade level. However, we know that in order to get to those achievable goals, we need to have small steps along the way. So we work to implement 3 SMART goals for English language arts and 3 SMART goals for mathematics. So this year, we're working that 80% of our students in kindergarten and first grade will perform on grade level. We use DIBELS and TRC at Silver Creek Primary because we do not have state assessments at our age level, and so we use those as our benchmark data. Then also, parent involvement is huge for us at the primary, especially because as our learners come in, there are a lot more needs than just learning needs for us to address with them. So kind of wrapping our arms around the family and making sure that we're helping in whatever way is needed. So our goal there is 95% of our families will attend parent conferences. Our previous goal was 93%, and we hit 98% last year. So we're hopeful we will continue down that path. And then 100% of our students will receive Orton Gillingham phonics each day. So that's part of the science of reading and pieces of that Indiana, the state, has come out with that is going to be law, but also because it's best practice, and we want to make sure that our students are getting that. In math, we have 3 SMART goals. 80% of the students in kindergarten and first grade will receive mathematics, and we monitor that via M-class data. Again, that we don't have state assessments, so that's our benchmark data. And then a huge piece of what we do at the primary for mathematics instruction is number sense. And so 100% of our students will receive that in the classroom each day. And then our last slide here for our interventions. This list could be very lengthy. These are just some of the things that we note in our school improvement plan each year. First and foremost, our positive behavior interventions and support plan. This is school-wide, and this helps us hit our tiers of support for our students, but focused around positive behavior that encompasses attendance and discipline. We have a community code of conduct at the primary. We use our daily number sense routines, Orton Gillingham. We have a huge focus on parent conferences and our family literacy nights. We have a student parent compact, and then also our Camp Kindergarten is our big event to bring the community in and provide interventions even before kindergarten. Dr. Briggs, I tried to be as brief as possible. Is that good?
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Campbell?
Mrs. Myers?
Mrs. Myers?
All right. So at Silver Creek Elementary, we all use the SI2 program. So it's kind of set up the exact same way. It's vision-based and data-driven, focused on some interventions. We have a steering committee of teachers, parents, and students that collect different data points and surveys to help us drive our interventions and identify our needs. And we're focused on raising student achievement and closing those achievement gaps. Another part of the SI2 program is it makes sure that we're in compliance with our laws, but also with being a school-wide Title I school. Okay, so wait, that went the wrong way. All right, there we go. Okay, so at Silver Creek Elementary, our vision statement: let all students deserve a safe and caring environment where they can succeed with adults working collaboratively and intentionally. And from that, we have our mission statement that is at Silver Creek Elementary, we work collaboratively and intentionally to be student-driven. We do this a lot of times through our PLCs. And as a result of these efforts, our students should all 100% be aware of their own learning successes, know that they can succeed in life, feel free to take risk with their learning, and provide their own level of, take pride in their level of engagement, and accept responsibility for their own learning and some behaviors. All right, so our goals. All right, here we go. Our goals, so we have mathematics and English language arts goals. Our goal overall arching is to raise our achievement scores by 10%. So our hope is that and we measure it based off the iLearn data, that each year our students will grow 10% in grades 3, 4, and 5. For mathematics, English language arts. Then we also break it down to one of our subgroups, which is our EL students, our English learner students, which is one of our largest subgroup populations. And we've kind of broken that down. Again, our goal is to raise their learning 10% as well each year, and their progress and achievement on the iLearn. So we'll continue to look at that. I think Dr. Briggs shared that there's some data point checkpoints. It's broken down broadly by grade level, so I'll check some of those numbers and look at that, and we'll get back with you on that. Some of our interventions that will help us achieve those goals are we have attendance goals, and we have an attendance system of tracking and communicating with parents if we see any attendance needs. Also, we have a balanced math block. We are concentrating on conceptual learning and helping provide teachers with some training for conceptual learning over the last few years. We have our behavior plan is focused on PBIS, which is the positive behavior intervention supports as well, focused on the positive and teaching kids what is expected and rewarding those good behavior choices. Also, our second grade is rolling out the zones of regulation. So having students identify what their feelings are and if they need to regulate those feelings and finding the correct tools to be able to do that. And then implementation of grade level pacing guides. We've done a lot of work over the last 2 years on our pacing guides to focus and clarify their work on the standards, and also with building our CFAs on how we measure their achievement throughout the school year. We focus on the depth of knowledge. That's what the DOK is, depth of knowledge level, and how we are questioning students on our CFAs. And if we are at the same questioning level as the iLearn is requiring us to be at. Also, we have an implementation of our structured Tier 2 and Tier 3 time. That's our fire time, and that's our Tier 3 is our intervention pull-out time for students who are needing that. That's built into our daily schedule, so all students have access to 3 tiers of supportive instruction a day. And then intentional small groups for reading and in math. We use the Orton-Gillingham multisensory approach for our reading interventions, and all teachers have been trained in Orton-Gillingham. We're still working on a few that are new teachers to be able to get them fully trained, but yet they've had some background knowledge with some of our train the trainer type things. All right.
Great. Any questions for Ms. Myers?
Thank you, Mrs. Myers. Mrs. Dunn?
So we're going to kind of sound like a broken record for some of them because we use the SI2 model as well, the vision to action, data-driven interventions. And again, when we look at this, each time we ask, what can we do to improve student achievement? We do vary a little bit in the middle school. For the middle school, our steering is teachers, community members, administration, counselors. We also start including a business partner. So we have a business partner that's a part of our steering committee, and our students are asked questions. So just, again, random grouping of students that are asked questions throughout the year with that. So again, our goal is to have 100% of students pass iLearn at all levels, pass math, language arts, Science in sixth grade, we want everybody to read at or above grade level. And again, the students, we now have students who can be enrolled in high school credit classes with Algebra 1, Spanish 1, and Spanish 2, and we want 100% of those students to receive credit in those classes. A little bit different at the middle school is we take a look at our grading versus our iLearn scores. So we take a look and say, if students are getting A's across the board and they're not passing iLearn, what is the difference between those? And how do we, again, what Ms. Myers was saying, how do we match our depth of knowledge questions with matching up to what iLearn is to set those expectations in our pacing guides and our curriculum maps? So again, this kind of looks at the subgroups that we have. We look at our English learning language learners. We look at our free and reduced population, our special education IEP learners. And again, we want to reduce those achievement gaps between those subgroups versus our overall scores. The interventions at the middle school is, again, we are acquiring technology and software. Part of that is to create interventions, and part of that is to create a one-on-one learning environment. We have advanced course offerings such as Spanish 1, Spanish 2, and Algebra, which are high school level classes. 7th grade and 8th grade can take Spanish 1, and then 8th grade can take Spanish 1, Spanish 2, or Algebra 1. We have an attendance policy, again, for positive attendance, and then also those interventions and safety nets for students falling behind in attendance, a safe and disciplined learning environment. We have, again, looking at our common formative assessments, and again, like what Mrs. Myers said, making sure that they're matching to the standards and the depth of knowledge or the DOK levels that they will see on iLearn and throughout the year. We have a counseling curriculum. Our counselors go into the classrooms and talk about bullying, talk about becoming a self-advocate, talking about peer relationships. So every month for the first semester, our counselors will go into the classrooms, each grade level, and have a topic that they talk about. We have Flex, which we can use as a Tier 2 intervention. Students can seek out teachers in math or ELA and get extra help during the flex time. It's about a 35 minute time period each day. Our students do work at a graduation plan. We just introduced college and careers again. They're going through the Indiana career education website. So our students are working through that. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later when I come up and talk. We do have math and language arts labs for our Tier 2 interventions. Students are placed in there based on their iLearn scores, their NWEA scores, their overall grades, and teacher recommendations. We also are working on our PLCs to look at our curriculum maps and our pacing guides to shore them up with the new standards and the depth of knowledge needed. We have Study Club and Dragon Pals after school as a Tier 2 intervention. And then again, this year we've added updating those essential skills and pacing guides. So you kind of see that through a lot of the different pieces of that. All right, high school.
Thanks, Mrs. Nunn. Mrs. Oliver?
You run away for that. We'll figure it out. All right, so unlike the others, we do not use the SI2 model. So ours looks a little different. That is something we will be using in the future, though. So you can see here, we have created an instructional leadership team. Obviously, we have a brand new principal. We're kind of starting ground level with all this stuff. So everything is a little bit more robust than what it looks like here. But we have put together an instructional leadership team. We've already had the first meeting this week. They're going to work really closely with us on this. But you've got our guiding principles there, pretty basic, aligning expectations to the academic standards, identifying those 21st century skills, making use of our curricular and community resources through collaborative efforts, providing a wide variety of research-proven instructional approaches, and promoting global awareness, diversity, and positive student interactions. All right. So for us, you're going to hear me talking a lot. I mean, our main focus, obviously, PSAT, SAT, attendance, graduation rates. Those are the kind of things people are looking at in terms of the high school level. With the new GPS, we're really focused on, again, those kids that have over 94% attendance. Currently ours are really low. We're still feeling a little bit of that from COVID. I feel like we're working back to get that back up where it needs to be. So that's going to be our first focus. I'll talk about some of the ways we're going to do that. And then we would like to see that graduation rate of 96 or better each year. We also shared some data there from previous tests. The SAT is new to us. 2 years ago when we gave it for the first time, we weren't really happy with those results. So last year we put in some targeted remediation to our students. We saw what we believe are the benefits of those on our scores this last year. So we're hoping to continue those things and only see those percentages go up in the future. Okay, so again, attendance is going to be the main focus, like what you just heard from the middle school, utilizing those PLCs. We did spend some time on them last year, and we just want to continue that focus, making sure we're using that collaboration time to work on those common assessments. Another thing that we're really focusing on there, and also with that instructional leadership team is kind of where we're starting, is some discussion about grading as well, because if we're not all on the same page on what a grade is, what it looks like, what it demonstrates, then, those PLCs, they're not going to have that impact we really need them to have. So that's going to be a component of that as well. And then utilizing that flex time that we're so lucky to have. So making sure we use that to get our students ready for tests like the PSAT and the SAT. So our goal there, we want 75% or more of our students to have that 94% attendance rate. So that's our goal. Some of the things that we are doing, weekly attendance meetings. It's really great having the SRO in the building all the time now. We're already doing some home visits. That's been really helpful. We also have the LIFT program where if we identify some need there that we didn't know existed, we can move them into that program. Filling out truancy packets if we need to do that. But then on the other side, also utilizing a climate and culture committee to work alongside us and work on some positive things we can do for students who are doing the right thing as well. So incorporating more PBIS and that type of thing at the high school level. And then again, the implementing targeted math and language arts interventions during Flex. We've already started that with our kids, getting them signed up for Khan Academy and Blue Book and doing some of that in their Flex time. So we look to see the rewards of that as well.
Hannah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry. I guess you can explain to me, when I look at the Silver Creek High School goals for PSAT, why are the goals so low compared to state average? All the reading and writing is above state average or well above state average. And the goal for 10th and 11th grade is 25% and 22% in math, where the state average is higher than that. Why is our goal below that?
I know, because Dr. Woolman and I, we talked about this a little bit at the end, because our ninth grade is what kind of makes that look skewed, I'm assuming, because the ninth grade is different. Because that is different because we only have just a handful of freshmen that take advantage of that.
No, I get that part, but if the state average is 32% in 10th and 11th grade, why is our average only 25 and 22% is our goal?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think that topic or that heading of goals,
Yeah, it's really.
I think gets
it's
to
kind
your
of
action. I think that is our current
Yeah,
score.
Is that
that's
our
why I was just.
current rate?
These
Yeah,
are
that's
our
our-
current.
Yeah, that's our and that would be on
And
me
that's why it's
from whenever
confusing,
I
yeah.
extracted this from their plan.
I see goals at the top.
Yeah,
and
I know.
see that our goal is.
Yeah, no, these are actually from 2022.
Okay.
But I expected there to be a question like
our
we were
goal is
talking
to be
about earlier
higher.
today. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think our goals are actually on there. These are actually
Well,
current.
your
So they didn't
action
get-
goals are on the next page. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I just made a note. Maybe we need to think about having an SAT goal
Yeah.
based on that. So,
Yeah,
but-
definitely.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mrs. Oliver.
Susan, do we have any community input? Would anybody like to provide community input? All right. Next up, Dr. Briggs, the consent agenda.
Okay, consent agenda number 6, we have under letter A, finances, numbers 1 and 2. Under B, personnel. Under 1, certified leaves, we have A and B. Under 2, classified. 1, appointments, letters A through C. Under letter C, other, requests for approval, numbers 1 through 7. And that is it for consent agenda.
All right, do we have a motion to bring the consent agenda to the floor?
So moved.
Mr. Basham makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groen seconds. Any question or discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 4-0. Next up, number 7, discussion action items. Under discussion action item B is the request for approval for a check donation to the Silver Creek Dragon Foundation for the Silver Creek Elementary School General Fund in the amount of $1,250. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
I so move.
Mr. Groen makes a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Basham seconds. Christie, would you like a roll call vote?
Yeah. Just real quick, just to mention before you guys vote on this, these were checks provided to and through our foundation from Hunter Station Pizza from the school supply drive. And Miss Campbell, I apologize, have not gotten to your building to deliver your check. But at the request of Mr. Fox, he wanted these donations to go to your guys' buildings for your discretionary funds. So I've actually been able to bring the one to the elementary. There is another one will be on the next consent or the next agenda and meeting, but I will drop it off probably this week. But that's what those are from. So thank you, Mr. Fox, and their collaboration, networking with us to provide more support to the schools.
Any other questions? Mr. Basham, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Franklin, how do you vote?
I'm going to abstain.
Mr. Groen, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Motion passes 3-0 with one abstained vote. Next up, Dr. Briggs, you have the second reading for approval.
Yes, we have 66 policies that I brought to you at our last meeting. There have been no changes to the proposals. Some of these are new policies, and well, the vast majority of them are just changes to current policy.
All right. We had the first reading at the last board meeting. This is the second reading, and for the approval, do we have a motion to bring to the floor?
I so move.
Ms. Franklin makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Basham seconds. Any discussion or comments needed? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 4-0. Next up is the naming rights of the SCE Music Room. Everybody in the saw in their board packet the information surrounding that. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
So moved.
Mr. Basham makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Franklin seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 4-0. Next up, under number 4 action item, which is the purchase agreement of for a portion of partial 10-17-11-001-006.000-031. We have a motion to bring that one to the floor.
I so move.
All right, Mr. Groen makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Basham seconds. Any discussions or questions?
I just wanted to make a statement on this. Is when this board was elected in 2020, we knew we had one thing that was looking at us dead in the face, and that was we had no room to grow. This board spent a lot of time trying to find a location. We spent hours, Christy and I spent probably days just looking at the entire plat map of Sellersburg trying to find that. We all researched, we did really well, but we all had one vision, and that vision is what would that piece of land eventually look like. We knew we couldn't do 2 acres or 5 acres. It was something that we had to be a grand. When I was able to introduce and meet with Sharon, our vision as a board came to the vision that she has with the legacy that she wants her piece of land to have. It's a great partnership, and if we approve this tonight, it is a tremendous and great thing for us to now have for the next 50 to 100 years. And I can't thank everybody on this board for bringing this there to this fruition. And also thank you, Dr. Balmer, Dr. Briggs, for getting us to this point too.
Anything else?
You gonna tell them what it is?
I thought that
I was
was what
waiting.
you.
No, I was actually waiting to see somebody else. I don't want to be the only one that speaks about it. I mean, honestly, this is, like I said, this is a collaborative piece. I mean, this
Go
is,
ahead, big boy.
It's actually, Scott saying, we have been discussing this since the board was formed far as future growth. We know this building needs a sister building, and that was the main reason that we started looking for property. We need another elementary school to break these numbers up. And we found a good partner that was willing to give us a nice piece of property. And so, as Scott said, it's going to take care of our needs for many years to come.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll add to that is we think that's what that land is. We're in the process of starting to do a feasibility study on what the best use of 20 plus acres looks like. Maybe another elementary school. It could be another middle. We don't know. And it's not a decision to take lightly. So we are looking at hiring somebody from outside of the corporation that does this for a living to help us go through demographics and future, growth inside of Sellersburg to kind of help us and lead us into what this land can be used for. But Sharon was a great partner. She gave us, or didn't give us, she allowed us to purchase over 20 acres of land at a very nice price for the city limits of Sellersburg. So appreciate that, and the entire Prather family for that. This land is located on Ohio, right past McDonald's, that big field there. We know when we need growth that we couldn't be here. The congestion is already great as it is. So, we're able to move it a little bit further south of town. All right. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next up under discussion action item 5 is the acceptance of the Ireland Home-Based Services LLC proposal for RFP for the lease of property. This has to do with the buildings that we purchased over here by the middle school, and Ireland is a current tenant, and we sent out an RFP for proposals to lease that property. Do we have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Mr. Grant makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next up is to actually approve the lease of that property with Ireland Home Services. We have a motion to approve.
I so move.
Mr. Grant makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Passion seconds. Any questions, comments?
I'll just say that Ireland's been a really good tenant for the previous owner, and they're easy to work with. And so we purchased that property so that we can still expand and grow into it. But, this is an example of where we are also getting revenue off of our purchases. And so the decisions that we try to get into with regards to being fiscally responsible, this is definitely a good partnership with them. And I think that it's good for us. We have a property that we can expand and use and kind of look to see what we're going to do with it. But we also currently right now are taking revenue in off the property and getting our money back where we purchased it.
It's a great point, but at least having revenue until we decide fully 100% how we're going to use every square inch of that space is beneficial. And we may never use every square inch of that space. And Ireland's a great partner of the corporation. So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next up, we have our committee reports. Ms. Campbell?
All right, good evening again. Just want to share for Silver Creek Primary that we are currently in the midst of our Silver Creek Primary PTO Walkathon fundraiser. Our Our fundraiser began last week, Tuesday, September 5th, and runs through Friday, September 22nd. Our school-wide goal this year for Walkathon is a $23,000, and as of today, we've raised just short of $16,000. So we are headed in the right direction, and we're grateful for that. Our culminating event, so our walkathon, will be on Friday, September 22nd. We use the cross-country course for that. It's a great event for families and students to come. We have popsicles and water and all of that, but don't worry, they can't take the popsicles on the cross-country course, I promise.
Just have them pick up after themselves.
Yeah, that's for after, Mr. Basham, I promise. But everyone is welcome to join us. It's a great evening. And then we make sure that it's finished before the home football game that evening. So it's a great time to go to the cross-country course for walkathon and then head to the home football game. So we're excited about that. And thank you to our PTO for being amazing and doing this for our building. Just want to remind everyone that Thursday of this week is our Silver Creek School Corporation EL Family Night. That location has been moved to Silver Creek Primary, so it will be in our PDAC at 6 o'clock. And if you have any questions, Danielle Mitchell is a great person to reach out to, as she's our coordinator for the district. And last but not least, we are going to be recognizing our letter P winners for Pride next week at SCP. So at our next board meeting, I will bring those winners. We take a little longer at the beginning of the year at the primary to determine some Pride winners. We just got to give everybody a little time to settle in. So I will have those next time. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you, Ms. Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Myers?
Here today. All right. Well, thank you guys. This week, our fantastic PTO has brought the Scholastic Book Fair, as you can see here in our group presentation room, which makes it tight space. They've worked so hard to make sure that the teachers, to make sure that all the students are supported, as well as the classroom teachers, with some of our profits and things from our book fair. So a big shout out to our PTO for all their work with that. We've got tons of volunteers that have been coming in and helping make that a success. Today, we began our Dragon Pals program for the after school program. We're excited to welcome this program back to the students of SCE. This year, we've got 23 kids with 6 certified teachers and 2 assistants. A shout out to the program and to the staff who are helping make these kids, help these kids fill in their learning gaps and flourish. Our robotics team just had their tryouts. We had so many students who turned in videos and apply to be a part of our robotics team. 16 students in 4th and 5th grade were chosen to be on our 2 robotics team this year. Thank you to Dr. Balmer for helping support us grow this program. These kids are going to be working with our sponsors after school to help build their robots and compete for their competitions. They have different quests that they have to do as they are working through that. We also have 4 third graders who have formed to help be mentors and helpers to the other teams, so they are seeing it grow, so they'll be ready for next year to support the competitive group. Thank you to Mrs. Walker, Mrs. Feldman, and Megan Lewis for putting in the hours to help support these kids with this endeavor. Our 5th grade student council has begun. The student council meets on the last Friday of every month before school. They had their first meeting in August, and from that we had 64 kids submit an essay stating the reasons why they wanted to be a part of the student council and their commitment to being a positive role model for the other students in our school. We're so proud of this group of individuals. They participated over the past weekend in the high school homecoming parade and have helped us plan. They'll help us plan events throughout the year. So welcome to our new student council members. Mrs. Fisher and Mrs. Good both help sponsor the student council, so thank you to them. This week, we're honoring Childhood Cancer Awareness Week with a Spirit Week. Each day, students and staff are invited to wear their theme. We're also hosting a Penny Wars to help support St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And if we raise over $1,000, all 3 principals will have to wear tutus and tiaras to school. And we are personally very looking forward to seeing Mr. Cyphers in his tutu. So
When does
getting
that
close.
take place?
well, this will be next week. So yes,
I just want to
gotta
write
reach
it
our
on
goal.
my calendar.
exactly.
And I know where I can get a lot of pennies.
We're close. So Thursday of this week, we're also hosting our spring family night from 5:30 to 7:30 here. We're inviting our families to learn about engaging literacy and math activities from teachers here at our school, and things that they can take and use at home. So we'll have snacks. We also have some pretty fantastic door prizes. So we hope to see everyone there. Our EL family night is also going on Thursday, and it is going to be at the middle school. So our EL family's got some things going on, and then I hope they come over and join us for our Title I night as well. And then finally, at the end of the month, we're going to be celebrating SCE's 20th birthday. So in 2003, Sellersburg Elementary Tigers and Stout Elementary Spitfires joined together to become Silver Creek Elementary Dragons. We have a week of fun activities planned. This will end on Friday with a Rock Your School Day event. We plan on sharing some fun facts about our school and its history. And we've invited our current and previous principals, superintendents, and board members to help us celebrate on Friday. So we hope that you guys can join us on that Friday. We hope to see you there. And also I wanted to thank everyone for your vote tonight to be able to name our music room in one of our past administrators here. We'll reveal it there, and we're really excited about honoring his legacy. So I appreciate all your support on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Nunn?
Good evening from Silver Creek Middle School. Some updates from us. First of all, I'd like to thank again the staff and students for a great start to the year. Our staff is working on dissecting the NWEA scores from our students that they completed at the beginning of the year, working on that with PLCs. I would also like to thank Dragon Pals. They have supported a math PD for our math and special education teachers that will be happening September 18th and 19th, and we're looking forward to having some great takeaways from that PD. We've also started, we've reintroduced our college and careers class. We've had some guest speakers already this year come and talk about their careers. We've noted that we wanted them to talk a little bit about their experiences in middle school and what led them to their careers. So far, we've had a nurse, a humana recruiter, a teacher, and a veteran share their journeys from middle school to their careers. Our students are also working on the Indiana Career Explorer, which is a website that's they can go in and look at skill sets and personality traits, and they can design what types of careers they might be interested in based on their interests. Speaking of college, we will be celebrating Go College Week, September 25th through the 29th. We will have career and future themed dress days, spirit days, along with just fun trivia and knowledge about college that we share and give prizes to for students. Mrs. Walters is our librarian, and she holds a bookmark creating contest. We've had the most entries ever, and I'd like to congratulate our fall of 2023 bookmark design winners. These will be reproduced and given out when students check books out from the library. They can just grab a bookmark with this. Oswaldo Gama, Grace Duggins, Riley Hale, and Lainey Hale were our winners, and they are incredible. If you get a chance to see or grab a bookmark from Silver Creek Middle School, these look professional. They did a wonderful job. I'd also like to thank the Hunter Station Pizza Stadium for allowing Silver Creek Middle School to take part on that field. It is incredible to be out there, just the whole atmosphere and experience. So far, our football team has played out there. Our girls soccer team has played there. Our dance team has performed. Our cheer has performed, and the boys soccer will be heading out there later this season. So it is such a great atmosphere, and we're so thankful to be included in that stadium. It is wonderful. Another thing is our boys tennis this past Saturday clinched the Mid-Southern Conference tournament. They were undefeated throughout the day. So congratulations to our boys tennis. Our cross country meet also had a large meet. Our 3K record for the school was tied by Lila Whitsett. So congratulations. Jack Gartner, Ryan Baggett, Cooper Day, and Mason North have also either made state qualifier time or have actually increased their state qualifier times at that meet on Saturday. So congratulations to them. And again, volleyball has won some great tournaments, and they have had an incredible season so far this year as well. I think that's it for Silver Creek Middle School. So anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Oliver?
I even have on heels. All right. Thank you. Few updates from the high school. Our seniors returned today from their 2-day senior retreat at Country Lake, where 135 seniors enjoyed bonding with classmates and sponsors. They took part in team building activities and they tackled physical challenges. The weather was perfect. We got lots of great pictures and feedback that the students had a wonderful time. So thank you to our senior sponsors and all the chaperones that give our students that opportunity each year. Also, last week's homecoming festivities were a huge success. Our students participated in spirit dress-up days through the week. We had a great turnout for the parade, and the Ozone as well as the fans provided a wonderful atmosphere at the game on Friday night. We'd also like to congratulate Bobby Stotts and Cassandra Hernandez Perez for being crowned homecoming king and queen. But that wasn't the only thing to celebrate Friday night, but the Dragons had their first home win of the season over Pekin East in our brand new facility, so that was pretty exciting. The festivities then continued into Saturday evening, where we hosted our homecoming dance. It was a huge success with over 400 of our students. So those were just our students, no outside guests allowed. So almost half of our student body at that dance. So it was a really great thing. So shout out to student council, to PTO, all the volunteers and donors who made all the events of homecoming possible and such a success. And over the last few weeks, we've worked to get all of our 9th through 11th graders signed up and started on both Blue Book and Khan Academy in order to assist these students in their prep for the PSAT, which we will take next month. We'd like to thank Brittany Edrington and all of our teachers who've helped make sure that our students are being set up for success on this test through this process. And then lastly, we're well into our renovations and construction all around us. So I want to continue to shout out our students and staff as they continue to be resilient as we get used to what we are calling the sound of success and progress. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Hafer, anything to report? Dr. Swearens?
All right, good evening. I have just a couple of things. First, our athletic directors reached out to our nurse, Casey Drain, and expressed an interest or a need for us to have some additional AEDs. So Casey did reach out to the health department, and they generously donated 3 AEDs, so we did receive those today. So I wanted to publicly thank the health department for their generosity and for providing those for our district. I will say that the plan is to place these on our athletic fields in a stationary type position. We also have 3 backpack AEDs that we're currently using, so we're able to transport those to sporting events, to those practices, and use those as needed. I also wanted to give a shout out to Jacqueline Good. She applied for an ARP homeless grant and did receive that. So the funds from that grant will allow a counselor from each one of our buildings and one of our administrators will attend a National McKinney-Vento conference where they will learn some different strategies and techniques to help support our homeless population. That they will then bring that information back and share that with the rest of the staff. That grant will also help provide supplies and resources for our schools to be able to provide to our families that have a need. I also wanted to just give a shout out to our principals and teachers that served on the evaluation committee. So we did meet 2 times to make some minor changes before that September 15th deadline due date for the state, but we are continuing to meet monthly here on throughout the school year just to make sure that we have that tool as effective as possible to help support our building administrators and our teachers as well. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Waters?
All right. It's hard being short. Okay. I want to give a big shout out to our teachers and admin that volunteered to be a part of the Flexibility Waiver Committee. The Flexibility Waiver allows us to utilize 3 days that are embedded into our calendar for professional development for not only our teachers, but all of our staff. During our first meeting, we had great discussion. We consensed on 3 days that we felt would be the most beneficial for not only our faculty and our staff, but also our parents and our families. And we will continue to meet to work on the best professional development for our staff and our faculty moving forward. I also wanted to give a big shout out to the high school and middle school. I've been able to visit some classrooms. I've been able to collaborate with middle school and high school teachers. We have a lot of great things happening in Silver Creek. So I'm so excited to be a part of the team. Do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Briggs?
Okay, lots of great things. Thanks everyone for sharing. Just a couple things that I want to highlight. One, to the board, thank you for naming the Silver Creek Elementary Music Room. Thank you for approving the land acquisition, as Scott had mentioned and Joe had mentioned. It's a big deal. Very much a game changer moving forward. Thanks to all of your help in getting this done, especially thanks to Dr. Balmer for all of his work in getting that done. Thanks also to the board for approving our revised calendar. As was just mentioned, we did get our flexibility waiver approved by the State Board of Ed, and that will allow us to have 3 full days of staff professional development. And to our families out there, that revised calendar will be coming to you here in the next few days. Thanks to Mr. Fox for the donation, much appreciated, and also all the school supplies that were also donated. And thanks to Casey Drain and all she did to get our AEDs added to our inventory. That's a big deal. AEDs are, like a lot of other things, it's only a big deal if you need them. So, and those things will save lives. So thanks to everyone involved with that. Thanks also to the board and also to the board for approving the grants, Jacqueline Goods grant that was mentioned, and also our school safety grant. Big thanks to Mrs. Myers for all the work she does on that. That too is a game changer. So there is a lot of exciting things going on, and thanks to everyone for all your parts, and from our staff to our board to our families, our teachers. Couldn't do it without all of us. That's it. Thank you.
Dr. Bowman?
I also want to thank our staff for the wonderful experience that they give our kids, especially our teachers with having kids here. Just as a parent, can't thank our staff enough for that they treat our kids like their own. It's an unbelievable what they do with our kids day in, day out, and I can't thank them enough. Truly what makes us very special. I do want to thank Sharon and Mr. Cree, Sharon's realtor. I want to thank our board for their vision, Mr. Groen for his hard work on locating that property as well. It is a huge deal for us and a step in the right direction, and some allows us for expansion as mentioned, but just very thankful for the Pray for family, and we look forward to honoring their legacy. I want to tell Ireland we appreciate them submitting their proposal and taking the time to do that, and look forward to continuing that partnership. And also Homecoming was just awesome. I was there. I want to thank our staff for making that possible, and that's it for me.
Mr. Basham?
I'd just like to thank the public for their patience on the construction project. Now they can see from week to week, they can see things going up, and you can start actually seeing the vision of what the building will look like a year and a half from now.
Ms. Franklin?
I just want to thank Dr. Balmer and Dr. Briggs. All these things that you see on here that take place, purchase agreements, leases, managing basically the construction. I mean, you guys are wearing a lot of different hats right now. You know, mapping out the budget. These are all things that take a lot of time. They don't just come and we vote on them. These are things that take months in the making, and outside of their, you know, normal activities and duties in the operations of us daily at the school. These things are taking place, and they require a lot of meetings and a lot of networking and conversations. So thank you for all you're doing. It doesn't happen without you guys, and so I just want to extend thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
Oh, and then also all the fundraising that's going on. Get out and support your schools. Let's get these principals on the roofs, duct tape to the front of the buildings, do what you got to do. This is the best part of the year to see what they come up with. So find your niche wherever you want to donate it. Maybe it's here at the book fair. Maybe it's the Penny Wars. Maybe it's the walkathon. Find out where you best can make your money make an impact. But let's get these principals and everybody out front, duct taped and on the roof. Let's do it. Tutus.
Mr. Groom?
Yeah, just can't just say the same thing everybody else is already saying. We can't thank everybody enough. Thanks to Sharon, the Prather family, also Ireland. That also goes back to the purchase from the Hensleys. Again, thank them enough as well. And just again, this board has done so much in the short 3 years we've been here. And I know we put a lot of pressure on the two gentlemen down here on the end, but we can't thank you enough. Like Hershey said, I mean, it's you do wear a lot of hats, and kind of sorry we keep putting a lot on you. So I apologize.
Thank you.
I'll just say, welcome all of our new hires. Welcome to the Dragon family. Just basically the same thing everybody said. Just a special shout out to Hunter Station Pizza and the community for the Pack the Bus drive that is going to go back to our general education funds at our schools that help them be able to provide for some families less fortunate. And that's a great get by Miss Drain to get 3 AEDs to place. They do save lives, and that's a very, very nice donation, and all the other donations that have been submitted as well. But question, Abby and Sandy, you guys had mentioned that you have EL night on Thursday, but I didn't get a time. What times are you? I got yours.
It's the same thing. It's the same one.
Okay. You confused me because one said one said middle school and one said primary. So okay, so it's together at 6 o'clock. Perfect. All right, next 3 meetings on the agenda are here at Silver Creek Elementary in this room. I think we'll probably have less books by then. So next one will be September 20th. We have a work session, and then September 26th, our regular scheduled end of September board meeting, and then October 17th, our regular scheduled October board meeting. If that is all we have, I need a motion for adjournment. Miss Bright is not here, so somebody else will have to do it.
So moved.
And Mr. Basham makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Groen seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Vote passes 4-0. Meeting adjourned at 7:32.